Day 5. Ta-da. Insulation of the rest of the van. Starting the day working with rock wool, and I'm going to put it into the holes and wear a mask and gloves, please, and thick clothes because it's so prickly. It's not nice. Jacques is right now fixing all of these holes, and look at this magic. So he cut a piece of aluminum.
Yeah. Squish like this. Comme ça. One like this. One like this.
Bam!
Bam! Like this.
So because the holes, the fiberglass has nothing to hold on to, so he created a form. So he's gonna basically put fiberglass, which he already put here. It has a metal mesh here. You just kind of, this isn't the finished product. This is just the base building. So it's the same for there. Jacques is a magician with us.
Magic.
Magic. Professional.
Master.
Jacques is doing the rest of the body work, and it's so good. It looks so well, obviously it's professional, but it just looks amazing. And it's fiberglass.
Good.
Yeah. Wow. So cool. I'm all done. It's so exciting. So next I need to basically put ISO on this to cut it out. I took a newspaper, put it flat against, took a pencil, pushed it in, and when you push it in, it goes like that. And then I put this thing over my ISO, and I traced it with a knife. So you go like this, big knife, and then you follow the line where it's, and then my ISO is in the process of being cut into the piece that I need. Ta-da! I hate measuring exactly, so this is a very good compromise. After you spray the adhesive, it says to wait like 30 seconds to 15 minutes. I waited, I think, 2 minutes, and it's fine. And then you like take it and you put it on, and then it sticks like the one right there. I did it wrong the first time, and then I read the instructions. Jacques finished the body, and I did not finish this because lots of setbacks with planning. Day 6. It's cold and gloomy. Marlo's demanding love. Are you demanding love? Day 6. Jacques is a master.
Is it going well? Slowly, but we're getting slowly and coming better and better.
Yay!
With stuff really good now.
Yeah, and Jacques is a master at cutting and measuring. So he's helping graciously with that.
Measuring tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this, like this, like this.
I know. Like he did all the panels. They're not up yet, but he did measured all the paneling, and there's a piece of plywood already that he put, and he's doing this one. This would take me years to do. Literally. And mousse. Lots of mousse, and my hands are in mousse and foam. But we're doing well. Coming along. So this mousse, buy good quality that sticks, because this one that I first put around, it didn't stick to the walls, it kept on falling. So make sure to get good quality, keep saying mousse because it's in French, but foam. I'm doing the ceiling with 1/2 inch poly iso, and then laying another layer because there's a lot of like open weird space. I don't know if I'm doing any of this right, but we'll see. 6 or 7. I've lost count. Look at who's a little baby. So today's really, really gloomy. River hates humidity and gloom. So he actually prefers to sleep the whole day until like 11. He'll wake up at around 11. He's the cutest. Oh my goodness, I can make just a whole video of you sleeping because you're so cute. And Marmar's in a little ball too. He doesn't care if it's humid, but he likes to sleep too a little bit. But more about the van, the van build. So Jacques today, they're still here, which is so appreciative because I suck at measuring. And look at that precision. It's like an engineer. I don't know where I would start. This would take me days to do. It took me days. It took me 4 hours to cut 4 tiny panels like that. And for those, it took me like 4 hours to cut 8 panels. Not good. The insulation here, it's basically the rock wool with the poly iso, and then it is a 1/2 inch plywood that I got for this, and 1/4 width plywood for the walls. So my van is 4 and something. The width or the height, whatever, this is 4 feet. So doing the math, it will be too short. So we'll stack it down towards the middle, and what will happen is at the top, it's going to be a little gap. I'm going to take that Reflectix thing. I know it doesn't do so much in terms of, but to create a good barrier for the heat, for the cold not to enter, I'm going to overlap it above before we put in the plywood and tape it to both of the foams. So right now you see the before product. I'm going into detail because not everyone has a van that's flat. Like me. So I stuck rock wool in the biggest parts. Honestly, you can get that foam thing. There's like a bulk kit that you can get, and honestly it's worth it. It's like $80, or you can get a small one for 40. Just spray foam in that, it would be so much easier and faster. I just didn't think about it. And then I got cans of that spray foam thing, and I filled in all my weird gaps as much as I could. And so it looks like this, because it has so many weird like indents. Like all of that you see are weird indents, and they're not even all full like of stuff like above. Nah, I'll put something there. So, and this side looks pretty much like that, and then it's gonna be sheets like this on top. I'm gonna tape them with that aluminum, and then it's going to be basically like, and the ceiling is double because it has the weird crevices. It's not weird, I guess. It just, you know, it is what it is. She's a lovely lady. And then I put another sheet above like that, and then the plywood's gonna go directly on that. I filled that with foam all throughout. So for anyone doing this, because like that's a big pocket of condensation that can happen. I'm gonna, you know, hope for the best that not too much heat transfers because there's like metal touching and stuff, but, or sorry, well anyway, that the not so much control of the temperature because there is kind of empty gaps, but because the plywood's gonna go directly into those bars. And then I've got the plywood that's gonna go, like I said, it's gonna reach to the floor, and then I'm gonna do an overgap of the foil. And down there, it's pretty well insulated, honestly. Some people, they say don't even insulate the floor, so I'm worried more about how to make that more like airtight, because that's okay. And there's foam under there, there's silicone under there, there's rock wool under there, so I think it'll be fine. There's also rust-proof paint. If you're skipping to the video and you didn't watch my fiasco, I don't know if you can see this, but if you didn't watch my fiasco with a rust-proof paint, whew, it's so necessary. Please rust-proof your van. I'll show you. You also see those little like gray swatches. That's rust-proofing paint. So on the rust-proofing primer, I guess. Not I guess it is a rust-proofing primer, but it was specifically in the automotive rust-proof department of Canadian Tire, and it basically protects. It's supposed to protect. So on the walls I only have one layer, but here I've got two, and it looks thicker like that. Rust-proof, 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 and that's pretty much it. And then Jacques was gonna cut. This is the 1/4. I'm gonna deposit on the wall. So he's super good, and he's cutting one giant piece. It's gonna go on the wall. I'm gonna shave down where it's too bulky, and then we're off. And then I'll install the ending of the roof vent. That's that. So I hope that helps with the people that are doing this and have questions about insulation, because all vans are a bit built differently, and I had not the hardest or easiest time. It was kind of meh. I got good information from other van builders about how they did the insulation, because there's like, you know, the materials to use and the way to put them. I don't know, by the way, I've said this many times probably now. I don't know if I'm putting anything correctly. I'm just doing my best, hoping that it's fine. I don't know if I need an air gap between the polyiso and the plywood for it to work well, like Reflectix. I don't think so, because I just hope not. And then there's a big gap between like where the foam, obviously the foam isn't like flush with the polyiso. What will happen? Will it be too much condensation and my van will rust out and fall up? Don't know. We'll see. We'll deal with it when it arrives, and I'll learn, because van life is decently new still, and there's a really good way to insulate. But I don't know much about insulation in terms of for like weird creviced walls. There's a lot of information about like Sprinter vans, and they have a flat kind of build more. So this is a 2004 Ford E-250, so it has all its curves, and I'm just doing my best in terms of, I know not to use rock wool because it, you know, it's not the best. Okay, didn't use rock wool. Okay, use polyiso. A lot of people say don't use Reflectix at all. So kind of I combined all of that information into, I have polyiso, some rock wool for like the weird giant things, but you can use spray foam. Like I said, I would highly recommend like at Kanak, it's like Home Depot. They have big like boxes of polyurethane kit where you prepare it and then you spray it. I don't know how much ground it covers, but honestly it's better than buying those tubes because it's more eco-friendly. Construction is so not friendly towards the planet, and like I feel so bad, but unless I find some like wool, but I don't know where to find the wool to insulate. That's probably the eco-friendliest, is sheep wool. And then as a vegan, like, I don't know how I feel about sheep being like, because I buy wool, I wear wool, but only if it's used. So anyway, or if it's like humanely done in a small local thing. Planet, animal life, you know, just pick your battles, whatever you choose, but just consider those things, that it is a lot of waste, and think about how you can minimize that waste. And like I said, I wish I would have bought the bulk box, and it would have covered a lot more. Honestly, you can buy a few boxes, because to do polyurethane spray, it costs about, I think, like $1,000 or something for a Sprinter van to get it professionally done, because you pay for the materials and you pay for the time of the people, obviously, and things like that. But to do it yourself, like, you can probably spray this fan in like $200 maybe, maybe less. I don't know how much that box covers, but look into it, especially like if you want to do a combination of polyurethane, the foam spray, and the polyiso, instead of using that to fill your gaps and things like that. I would have gone that way, and now I know if I ever have to do a van build for my future van build. And that's it. And also be super mindful of the wires and things like that, not to get the wires in foam, because the foam gets a little crazy sometimes and it just falls. And another thing, the foam, please get a good quality foam that you know works. If you're getting just individual cans, buy one can of one brand, buy another can of another brand. I didn't use gaps and cracks because that's expensive. It's like $14 for a can of gaps and cracks, and it's small. The off-brand at my local hardware store, Canuck, was $4. Honestly, like 14 or 4. I went with the other one, and then yesterday I found at another hardware store an amazing brand that works the best for me. It's stuck to the wall. It was like Pro Foam. It's literally called Pro Foam, I think, and it's a black can. It was the best because it sticks to the metal. So also think about that. If you're spraying and your foam's just falling like the other one did, probably not the good foam for you. So look into the foam. I don't know how you could like test it before, but maybe just buy a can of each and before you buy the bulk box. I learned that the hard way because my hands are still, look at them. You can see, I don't know if you can see, but anyway, they're just like a hot mess, both of my hands. And that's because of the foam. So that's my little spiel about the compilation of insulation that I've learned. Do your best. You're not a professional, probably, if you're watching this. Maybe you are and you're trying to be. I really recommend just like doing the research of how each individual installation is supposed to be installed. So call the companies, ask them, how do I use your product properly so it works well? I wish I would have done that with the polyiso foam board. Does it need an inch gap thing between everything else? I don't know. I know that the plywood that I'm using, by the way, is getting super long, sorry. But honestly, it was the most important part for me, is the insulation. Like, this was the biggest step, because furniture, like whatever, it's cute and pretty, it doesn't serve such an integral function as keeping you warm or not overheating in a microwave. So please spend your time doing it, because I was really excited to build furniture, because I love doing that. And then when I'm doing this, I realized just how important it is to take your time. So please don't rush into like building up the cabinets. Please don't. That's important, but honestly, if you build a house with a crappy foundation, it's just gonna fall off no matter if you put like whatever the nicest things inside. So please take your time, unless you want to be cold or too hot. But I'm using 1/4 1/4 inch plywood for the walls. That's because my walls are curved, so I actually can't put 1/2 inch. I know for polyiso for sure it says that in order for it to be effective, the material that it has on top of it, it has to have a 1/2 inch gap between the interior space, so the interior of the van, and the polyiso board. So technically, if I do it right, it has to be 1/2 inch plywood. I cannot curve 1/2 inch plywood. It physically doesn't bend enough to how my walls bend. So like I can show you, look, like here, like it's pretty bendy. And the other plywood just will not do that. Pick your battles. Like I said, do your best. That's it. So that's it on that. We're gonna keep working. Jacques right now, he's pre-measuring and he's marking it on this board where we're gonna put the screws, because this is gonna go up and then we won't see where to mark in the plywood. So he's putting basically how high, oh that's really smart, how high up from the floor it is to where we can screw in the screws for the plywood, essentially, because this is gonna cover everything. This is like magician stuff. And then he's taking that. I don't know what he's doing, but I know he's measuring stuff. Jacques and I right now are putting the plywood up and we can't find the little things, but it's okay. We made it work.
I'm just saying.
Because it's because the polyiso underneath doesn't curve enough. So the plywood doesn't curve enough, so our screws are a bit too short. They don't catch. But look, we did an overlap of Reflexix. So I'm doing an overlap here. And it's gonna go on top of the other polyiso that's gonna go here. It's gonna be taped, so the plywood is gonna squeeze. That was actually Lawrence's, so Jack's son and my friend. That's his idea. So we're doing that right now. So we just put up this wall and that wall. Now is the moment of truth for me for that wall, because Jacques has to go do stuff because he's been helping me so much. So he has to go live his life. And it's my moment of truth to see my cutting skills. I hate it. I don't know how to cut stuff. We'll see what happens. I did it. With the help of Jacques, he like traced this with a cardboard. He's like, just put it on there. And then I measured things myself. And it fit. I kind of overlooked the fact that this was low. I knew I had to do 2 cuts, but it was almost perfect on the first cut. 2 cuts. Oh, and the wheel well, or whatever, gas tank well. Wow. Super happy. Screwing a piece of plywood that curves like this, and apparently the width, if it's smaller, it curves a lot more difficultly. That's not a word. It is now, because I said it. But I managed to do it. I might have pierced a hole right through, so I had to put a washer just so I don't know. This is a really good, like, strong drill. I'm not used to it, I just went right through it. But I did it all by myself after about 30 minutes of fighting with it. High five to myself. Yeah. And then now it's the ceiling. Yay. Jacques and I, we completed.
Yeah, we yes.
The box.
The box.
So
we did a good job.
Yeah.
Yana, she's really good. She's a smart girl, and she has so many ideas about to do things. She's a really good. Yeah.
Thanks. And Jacques too. I learned from the best. Jacques taught me a lot, and look at that. Look at the magic. That is this. It's literally, yesterday we worked 13 hours.
Yeah.
13 hours, and Jacques cut everything exactly precisely, and so thankful. And we are done with the box, and the finishing touches.
Finishing soon.
Yay!